So here's the deal. I mean, you guys know me. I'm Stephanie Laska. You know I lost 140 pounds and created Dirty Lazy Keto. But one of the things I had to learn along my way was how to, manage my relationship with fruit. Because I love fruit. Fruit is delicious. My husband calls fruit nature's candy, which is so weird. He has obviously not had the good candy like I have had. But bless his little heart, he's trying. He's like one of those people that didn't necessarily have to struggle with his weight. We all want to eat better, but he just didn't have that issue like I did. Anyway, so one of the things that I had to do during my weight loss journey was to really wrap my head around the role of fruit. Was it good? Was it bad? I had to kind of figure that out for myself. So I want to share some of the lessons I learned with you by having a discussion today. And mainly I want to focus on 3 questions. Okay, give us a little structure. So first of all, what is wrong with fruit? Like why? What's the evil thing? Or is there an evil thing? So what's wrong with fruit? Number 2, can you eat fruit on Dirty Lazy Keto and still lose weight? I want to talk about that. And then number 3, I want to do my favorite part. Can you guess? Show and tell. So I want to do some show and tell of my favorite fruits, some fruits that might be higher in carb, moderate in carb, and also lower in carb. And I want to hear from you. So please share what fruits you are currently enjoying. Share which fruits you kind of miss, like you're sad and lonely without them. So share those too in the comments so we can try to make a plan to help everybody be successful, right? Because that's the whole point. We want to make this work. So number 1, let's get started. Number 1, what is wrong with fruit? Anyone? Is there anything wrong with fruit? Maybe fruit's fabulous. I don't know. So tell me your opinion. What is wrong with fruit? Okay, here's my answer. There's nothing wrong with fruit. Nothing at all. I think fruit and all food, I don't think there's good or bad. I just think we have to get to know our fruit and our food a little bit better. So in my experience, and for what I've learned as a non-scientist person, a non-scientifical person, fruit, because it is higher in fructose, it does have a lot of carbs. That's sad. Fructose is a type of sugar. Now it's natural, don't get me wrong, it's from a tree or a bush, whatever, so makes it more fabulous. But even fructose is similar to sucrose, which is sugar, in that the metabolism in the body is really quick. So your body, whether it's, a candy bar, which is made from sucrose, sugar, or like a glass of fruit juice, which would be all fructose and maybe some sucrose. That makes the body go into like crazy mode because it's like pure adrenaline. It's pure sugar. It causes the body to go and get all excited. So for us, or for me anyway, following Dirty Lazy Keto, that to me is a challenge because I want to enjoy fruit, but I don't want to have a massive sugar spike just from enjoying fruit. Follow me? So before I continue, this is why I put fruit at the top of the food pyramid. And this is in the Dirty Lazy Keto Get Started Losing Weight While Breaking the Rules. And this is the full guidebook. I do recommend you start with this if you don't have any of the Dirty Lazy Keto books. It just really explains the rationale. Because I think otherwise you're just pissed. You're like, well, why can't I have fruit? And then you're like wondering, among other things too, right? So here's the deal. On page 91, I come up with a food pyramid. And you can see it here in the book. And all the Dirty Lazy Keto books do include the pyramid. But on page 91, I kind of go over, in my opinion, what worked best for me in a way I spent my carbs on a daily basis. And you'll see at the very top of the food pyramid, I recommend tier 1 is fruit, nuts, and seeds. And I talk about just having a handful of those items on any given day. That's why. I'm not being mean. I'm just saying in my experience of losing 140 pounds, this is what worked for me, is limiting the amount of fruit for the very reason I just talked about, because of the sugar rush that can happen from all that fructose. You don't need to know all that scientific stuff. But if you don't have this book yet, you can order it on Amazon, all sorts of good places, Barnes & Noble, wherever you shop for books. And from now until the end of March, just to keep you in the loop, my publisher is offering a free prize, just for fun, they're going to offer a magnet of the Dirty Lazy Keto food pyramid. So you can order it wherever you like to shop for books, redeem your receipt, go to the website, dirtylazyketo.com/books. You'll see a little link there. So you can redeem and get your free pyramid fridge magnet to help you, and it'll get sent to your house. Okay. Anyway, here's the problem. When you eat too many carbs, like we just talked about, when you eat too many carbs, you will get knocked out of ketosis. Ketosis, not to be all scientifical, but that's where you are burning fat, right? So you want to stay in ketosis? Yes. That's the fat burning mode of keto. That's like the whole point. So eating too many carbs is going to knock you right out. So that's one reason to limit the amount of fruit you eat, because it has higher amounts of carbs. Here's the other thing. I think that we just have to be honest with each other that when we eat too many foods that are high in carbs, even fruit, which is kind of innocent, fragile, natural, it seems all fabulous and wholesome. Even when we eat these delicious foods that are healthy for us, if we eat too many high carb of those, we will have that huge rush and then the crash, which causes the moodiness and makes most of us, especially me, start to eat more to try to get back out of that lull. So you can eat your smoothie and drink your smoothie and have all this delicious fruit. That's all natural and fabulous. But soon after, you'll crash, right? And then your blood sugar is done. And then you're all sad and tired. And that's when most of us, like me, who struggle with our insulin, we start eating more and more, even though we're not hungry, just to get ourselves back to feeling normal again. So that's really the whole crux of Dirty Lazy Keto. That's what I talk about and try to help people wrap their head around. Because that's really it. Once you get that, then you're like, oh, okay, I'm good. Right? You're not like angry and mad and missing fruit. I think that helps a lot just to get that perspective. So number 2, let's move on. Can you eat fruit and still lose weight on Dirty Lazy Keto? Yes, you can. Absolutely. You know, as you may have guessed just from what we just talked about, the trick is to choose fruit that is lower in carbs. Okay? So if you choose lower in carb fruits, or you eat fruit in moderation, then you're not going to have a problem. Do you see how I kind of connected those dots? Here's some tricks about eating fruit in moderation. And I would love to hear your suggestions as well, because I don't know everything. I bet you have some suggestions that you could type in the comments and help the whole keto community. So please do that right now. To eat fruit in moderation, for me, what that looks like is I put it like as a topping, like for example, on yogurt. I'll have my morning yogurt. I like the Fage, 5% full fat, and I'll put like a few blueberries or raspberries or something, yummy on top. And then I get that fruity feeling, but I'm not necessarily eating, truckloads of it, which would be too much carbs for me. Another thing I like to do in terms of moderation is enjoy fruit in a smoothie. I find that adding just a little bit of whatever fruit I'm into to a smoothie, it adds that flavor and it adds the color, because nobody likes those like beige smoothies. Nobody. So it adds a nice, rich, beautiful color to your smoothie. It adds a smell to it. It adds a little touch of flavor. And then your brain is like, I'm having fruit. And then you feel satisfied. Well, that's what works for me. And then a third trick I have about using fruit more in moderation and to help me lose weight and keep my weight off is that I use fruit or enjoy my fruit with the time of day in mind. And for me, that means having it in the morning, because I tend to do my exercise in the morning. So if I have like maybe a little bit of apple or melon, I know, right? You're all like, I might have some of those fruits and then go work out, because I'm confident that even if my blood sugar is going to be raised, I'm going to be out exercising and metabolizing that fructose. So it's not going to cause me to get out of ketosis, and it's not going to cause me to go into a slump and then try to overeat to get out of it. Anyway, that's what works for me. I want to hear from you. Okay? Time for the third category, the third question. This is my favorite one. It's show and tell. My whole office smells like a fruit basket right now because I went out yesterday and spent, I don't know, like $50 on fruit. I bought every single fruit I could find at the store. So I have it all here and I want to go through the fruit as like a show and tell with you. First, I want to show you some of the fruits that might be higher in carbs. I think it's helpful to start with the higher carb fruits before we go to the lower carb fruits because it's all about perspective. Once you go, then it makes the other ones go, oh, that's much better. At least that's how it works for me. So in general, just as a general tip for you, when you're enjoying your fruit, try to enjoy it fresh if you can. There's canned fruits out there. No. These are usually full of syrup. So especially things like pineapple. I don't even know who put strawberries in a can, but if you're trying to aim for lower carb fruits, which we are today, I would select things that are either fresh is always best, or frozen. Frozen is a great alternative. Do not get all snobby about frozen fruit. It's fabulous. All right. So here is one of my favorites that I really love. This is, can you guess it? Guess it in the comments if you know the answer. What is this called? This is a mango. These are 22 grams of net carbs per serving. And when I was doing all my research today, I put all of my grams of net carbs per cup, unless I say otherwise. I just wanted to make a uniform standard. That way all the fruits could be compared, like apples to oranges. But you get it? That's funny, right? All right. So all of them are by a cup serving, unless I say otherwise. So this is a mango. It's 22 grams of carbs per 1 cup. I do have mango once in a while. I like it frozen. It tastes like ice cream to me. I swear to you. I know I'm crazy, but especially if I'm on vacation. Do I eat a whole cup? No, I do not. I might have a little bit in moderation, and then that's enough for me. It's very loud. What about oranges? I love oranges, especially at this time of year. They're everywhere. Well, an orange, surprisingly, is 17 grams of net carb. I know, right? And that is per 1 cup serving. Are you surprised? Oranges are so yummy. They're very sweet, aren't they? Here's what I do. Instead of having an orange, though, just as a side note, because that's a little too high for me, is I drink orange flavored water. I use those sugar-free enhancers. Tang has one that's delicious, or Sunkissed, or whatever. I find them at the dollar store. But you might find one that hits the spot. It makes you fool your brain. Now, I realize there might be some vitamins and some minerals and all that crap that I'm missing out. You're probably right. I just want to acknowledge that. No one's fighting with you. This is dirty keto. So, hey, I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently than maybe a strict nutritionist would. So bear with me. A lot of people talk about, what's this called? Do you know? A lot of people talk about melon on Dirty Lazy Keto. I don't know what it is with melon, with watermelon and cantaloupe. People love it so much and they talk about it a lot, especially when they're new. And they're like, I miss melon. I miss melon. I'm like, have some damn melon. Like, stop complaining and have a little bit. If having a little bit keeps you on track, then do it. I had a pause for dramatic effect. Like, really, if it's that important to you and it's like a do or die situation, then why don't you just have some? What's going to happen? So what if you're not perfect for one day or one afternoon? Big deal. Or you just have some in moderation, have some before exercise, or do it a different way where you get the same flavor. Can you guess how many carbs per serving? Dramatic reveal, 11 grams of net carbs. Now, I realize that some of you right now are Googling things and you're like, oh, according to my carb manager, she's wrong. Okay, fine. You may be right. Here's the problem with fruit. When you go to the grocery store and you buy fruit, there's no nutritional information, right? Where do you find out this information from? So we are all left in the dark. We're Googling things. We're asking our friends. We're relying on what our mom told us about what was healthy and what wasn't. And, we're looking at apps like Carb Manager. But here's the deal. People are wrong. And there's a variety of different facts according to who you ask and what reference source you go to. So I actually go to the mothership. I go to the USDA, and that is who I look to as a reference. I found that to be much more accurate than, fooling around with different apps. But then again, I've been doing this for almost 10 years, so, I take my job very seriously. So this is a pear. It is 15 grams of net carbs. All right. And what do you think about that? Is that too high for you? It's up to you. Don't let people boss you around when it comes to things like this. I think you have to make your own decision. All right, one more here. I had to put this one in a plastic bag because it was leaking. It's a little bit soft. What do you call this little guy? I'm going to call it a nectarine because that's what the bin said. And a nectarine, according to my research, let's see if I can show that through the bag, has 12 grams of net carb. I don't know. Is that worth it to you? Have I shared a high carb fruit that you love yet? Are any of these the ones that make you cry? What about plums? They're so little. They look innocent, don't they? A plum is actually 16 grams of net carb. Is that good or bad? What do you think? It seems a little high for me. Super sweet, I guess. And here's a cute little one. This looks super innocent, doesn't it? I would say this is not an orange. The orange was over here. I almost couldn't remember what it was called, but my kids like these. I guess it'd be like a tangerine or a cutie. People call them different things. These are super delicious and yummy. My kids love them. We pack them in their lunches. They're really easy to eat, right? Here's the problem. If you eat a cup of these, not a small fruit, but a full cup, it's going to offer 22 grams of net carbs for a full cup. I don't know. Like that orange water is looking better and better, right? Because I know a lot of you are trying to limit yourself to maybe 20 grams of carbs per day. So that would be like your whole day on one little fruit. That's kind of upsetting, right? I understand. What about an apple? Any apple people out there? I love green apples. I love them so much, especially if I'm not feeling good. They help my tummy. Love them. So what I do, I still eat green apples, and I eat them on hikes or if I'm doing a lot of exercise, like on vacation. So for me, it's kind of like a specialty. I know that's sad, right? I used to eat like donuts for special, and now I'm eating an apple. Hey, it works for me though. So I love apples. However, I recognize that 23 grams of net carb, and this is actually for a medium fruit. That was the information I found online. So it's 23 grams for a medium-sized fruit of apple. This one is super high. I had to check my my math like 5 times because I was like, nuh-uh. What about grapes? Love green grapes. Aren't they delicious? Now, I didn't discern between green and red grapes in my research, but what would you guess is the amount of carbs for a cup? Go ahead and guess. Anybody can get it right? So green grapes or red grapes, I don't know if there's a difference. But here we go. 26 grams per cup of these innocent little fabulous grapes. No wonder I like them so much. Love them. But that's super high, isn't it? And then this last one is not per cup. This last one is per medium fruit. Ooh, who can guess how many grams of net carbs are in a banana? Interesting. Inquiring minds want to know. Should I sing? Na, 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 na. All right, I'll tell you the truth. A banana has 26 grams of net carbs per medium-sized fruit. And I'm doing net carbs, so I'm subtracting fiber on all of these for you. And I'm also rounding up or down, depending on the math, so you don't have to mess around with all those decimals. So which one of those fruits made you sad? Which one made you happy? Was there anything like surprising there where you were like, that's not so bad. I could actually have some of that. I hope that is the case. Here is another fun one that I don't want to forget. The beautiful pineapple. I love pineapple. Love it, love it, love it. And pineapple actually has about 19 grams net carbs per 1 cup serving. So also pretty sugary. I guess that makes sense, right? That's why it tastes so good. But there's a lot of ways around this, right? Like I love, love, love pineapple. I was mentioning that. So one of the things I do instead of having pineapple is I order these or pick these up at the dollar store. This is a pineapple flavor water enhancer. Sneaky, right? It tastes just like it. I drink this all day long. This is my new favorite one. I have it constantly. It has 1 gram of net carbs per serving. You know, whatever. That's a lot better than me having a whole pineapple. And you can make pina coladas with these. They come in powder as well. Different companies, right? Pina colada. Why not? Because you know what? You get to have coconuts. I put it in a bag again, dripping. Because coconut is a lower carb fruit, believe it or not. I bet you knew that because we have coconut milk all the time, right? In recipes. I use it a lot in the Dirty Lazy Keto cookbooks. And for a 1 cup serving of shredded coconut meat, like the white stuff on the inside, which for all of you who've never cracked open a coconut, it would look, you know, shredded in a bag, kind of like this. And shredded coconut, as long as you get the unsweetened variety, you're looking at about 12 grams of net carbs per cup. I don't necessarily think I would have the whole cup because also coconut is not just a fruit, it's a nut. And nuts are in the same category as fruit at the top of the pyramid, where I recommend them to be a small amount every day. Blah, 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 blah. That's a lot of information, but nuts and fruits and seeds, you want to try to limit just because they're higher in calories. I know, I don't count calories, but if you follow the pyramid, it just does all the work for you. So voila. Here is some other lower carb fruits in addition to coconut. This one is my favorite. One of my favorites anyway. Strawberries. Do you love strawberries as much as I do? They're in season right now and they're so yummy. But here's the deal. If you were to buy one of these, I don't even know what this is, like 1.5 pints or a pint or whatever they sell at the grocery store. I mean, you're looking at like 2.5 cups. That's a lot of danger. So when you're calculating your lower carb fruit, you know, make sure to be honest with yourself. Get out the whole measuring cup and put it in there and shake it around and be honest because you can get yourself into trouble, right? Let's be real. Depending on what resource you look at, a whole strawberry, a fresh strawberry, it's going to run probably about 8 grams of net carbs per cup. And that's for a whole berry. Now, I don't necessarily just buy fresh fruit. As you all know, in the Dirty Lazy Keto Dirt Cheap Cookbook, this one, the Dirt Cheap Cookbook, I talk a lot about saving money and buying things frozen. You don't have to buy everything fresh. I don't. I buy most of my strawberries at Costco or at Walmart. It's about $10 for this giant bag. This is 4 pounds of strawberries. And they're frozen with no sugar, and the berries are all separated. They're perfect. Another tip when you're having frozen berries is you can pull them out one at a time and eat them very slowly. You cannot eat frozen berries fast. So it helps slow your roll, if you know what I mean. You can sprinkle monk fruit or any kind of sweetener of your choice. If you add a little cream, it's like heaven, deliciousness, and it's inexpensive. Additionally, I should say, besides just the frozen strawberries, I get a lot of mixed berry blends. This is from the Dollar Tree. I know. And I use this to make a lot of smoothies. This way, like I talked about earlier, I can just add a little bit of berries and get that color and smell and taste of fruit without really going overboard. So some of the ones in this bag here, of course, we have strawberries that we just talked about, which are roughly 8 to 10 grams of net carbs per cup, depending on the brand and the label. Blueberries and raspberries. I'm sorry, blackberries and raspberries. Blackberries are about 6 grams of net carbs per cup. Raspberries are about 7 grams of net carbs per cup. Yummy, right? So easy. Nature's candy, says the husband. I don't know about that. I'm thinking about that still. Lemons. You may not have thought a lemon was a fruit, but it certainly is. And lemons have, can you guess, how many net carbs? 4 grams of net carbs per what? Let me check on that one. I hear my dog crying, which is so distracting. 1 medium fruit, actually, for the lemon. It's not per cup, just because that would be weird. No one eats a cup of lemon. And then similarly, lime. I also put this by the medium fruit. Lime is actually going to have 5 grams of net carbs per medium fruit. So I use lemon and lime quite a bit to flavor water and in cooking. It's delicious and adds quite a bit of flavor. And it's low in carb. Now I realize you're all, that's not fruit. But compared to that pineapple, it's looking maybe a little better, right? Especially if you add some sugar-free sweetener. This one is kind of in that same boat, right? Like a tomato. Like, really? Is a tomato a fruit? Is she crazy? Yes, I believe it is. And I would go ahead and call this 5 grams of net carbs per cup to have tomatoes. I would have it in moderation because bell peppers, tomatoes, those are nightshade vegetables, jalapenos. And I talked about that in the Dirty Lazy Keto Get Started book. But nightshade vegetables, they're higher in carb. And yes, it's a vegetable. Yes, it's a fruit. Whatever. Avocado, again, with the crazy imaginatory fruits, perhaps. But some people like to argue an avocado is a fruit. It does have a big nut or seed inside. Who knows what it is, but it's only 3 grams of net carbs per cup. So I'm going to call it delicious. Blueberries are a fun one. I mentioned this earlier. Very high, though, per cup serving. 18 grams per 1 cup serving of fresh blueberries. So should you cut out blueberries? Just have them in moderation. You don't need a whole cup of blueberries. Have a 1/4 cup of blueberries or sprinkle them on your yogurt like we talked about. There's other ways you can get your fruit on without necessarily eating fruit. Like, what about candy? See, I'm crazy. I told you that up front. These Russell Stover fruit flavor hard candies, they have a ton of different types of fruit hard candy at the dollar store. These are 3 pieces for 0 grams of net carbs. Or what about Jell-O? We mentioned bananas earlier. A lot of you in the comments wrote that you miss bananas. I do too. I love bananas. So lately I've been making a lot of different desserts with the sugar-free strawberry banana Jell-O. And that for me is really doing the trick. It tastes just like it. Like, did your mom ever make that Jell-O when you were little with the little bananas floating on top? And they'd always turn brown, but it still tasted good. That Jell-O tastes just like it. Oh, and then the orange juice I mentioned, I held this up for you, but I just picked this up at Walmart. Great value brand. Also, Tang has the little tear-off pouches or powders. But that's a good way to get your deliciousness in. That's a word. So I know I went really fast and I went over a ton of options. I didn't go over all of them. I actually have a huge list of fruits and research that I've been doing with all of the net carbs, all the amount of fiber, and all that information you can find in Dirty Lazy Keto Get Started. So you can always refer to it. It's here for you. It's on page 94. The truth about fruit. Isn't that funny? The truth about fruit, like it's a big mystery. I mean, really, Dirty Lazy Keto is not about eliminating food groups. I know that might be something you've heard from, your next door neighbor or your jealous, friend at work who sees you losing weight and they're like, oh, that's not healthy. Well, poo-poo to them because this works. I've lost 140 pounds. I know thousands of people have also had wonderful weight loss success with Dirty Lazy Keto. And there's a way you can do this while enjoying fruit. So don't feel like you have to just cut it out of your life altogether. It's just about a different approach to food where you have a different matrix. You kind of learn to work with the food, learn to work with the apples or the oranges or the bananas or strawberries, and you eat it in ways that still works for you. And that way you can lose weight, keep the weight off, but most importantly, feel satisfied. That's it. I just wanted to say thank you for listening. I appreciate your support. This is a community, Dirty Lazy Keto. We have to help each other. We're in this together, my friends. It's not easy, is it? We gotta support one another. So if you found today's video to be helpful, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and then subscribe to the Dirty Lazy Keto YouTube channel. Turn on your notifications so you'll never miss an update. You can also find me on Instagram at Dirty Lazy Keto. And for more information about any of my support groups or any of my books, you can always go to dirtylazyketo.com for more information. I'm here to support you. I'm here to help. I know you can do it.